It's Friday, and that means it's time for the weekly RPG News Rundown. Berserkr is an OSR take on Nordic fantasy and based on the Morkborg rules. Decisions your character make in the game have an effect on cosmology and even the direction that Ragnarok will take, and it's even possible to kill gods. Magic is based on 24 Norse runes, which can also be used to enhance weapons and armor. Upon dying, your character is transported to Valhalla, where they can recount the saga of their deeds to try to earn a place in its halls. Berserkr is now on Kickstarter. Publisher Massive has announced a second hardcover print run of their award-winning TTRPG, Lancer. Lancer is themed around mech pilots, and the game also allows players to build custom mechs. Massive says these books are available now from retailers with the classic cover art, or you can buy the books with the brand new cover art directly from Massive's website. In November, Renegade Game Studios will release a new printing of Revelations of the Dark Mother, a title that has been out of print for over 2 decades now. It features material about the goals of Lilith, Mother of the Damned, also known as the Dark Queen, and will contain information about the texts and rituals of the Bahari cult. There's also a new vampire creation myth that challenges the validity of the legacy of Cain. There's a new foreword by Aisha Jokastation, if I'm pronouncing that right, and the book will retail for $40. Cubicle 7's new RPG product, Victoriana for 5e, is now live on Kickstarter. It's a fantasy RPG set in the Victorian era in 1887, and it's kind of a mashup of high fantasy and steampunk, with magic and fantasy races a full part of the setting. This Kickstarter is for a full 5e edition of the game. Publisher Green Ronin has announced a new expansion pack for The Expanse, their tabletop RPG adaptation of the science fiction setting created by author James S.A. Corey. Called the Transport Union Edition, it's an updated and revised core book which also jumps 30 years into the future of the storyline, but will be backward compatible with existing characters and ships from the game series. Green Ronin will launch a backer kit campaign for the book in about 50 days. Spy is a TTRPG that claims inspiration from Mission Impossible and Metal Gear Solid. The game is set to undergo a second edition called Spy 2.0, and that project is on Kickstarter now. Players play characters who work for a secret organization known as The Factory. The Kickstarter includes a few supplement books, including adventures called Missions, and source books on enemies and enemy organizations. Hasbro has announced their new president of subsidiary Wizards of the Coast, of course, most notably the company that produces Magic the Gathering and Dungeons & Dragons products. The position was open after the resignation of Cynthia Williams in April, who gave a relatively brief period of notice and then joined Funko as CEO. The new president is John Haidt, coming to the company from Blizzard Entertainment. Haidt has more than 30 years of experience in the video game industry, having held positions at Sony, Atari, EA, and 3DO. This seems to align with the push toward digital products, at least for D&D, and on top of all this, Haidt was also named president of the digital gaming division at Hasbro. Wizards of the Coast today announced that they'll be bringing the first 3,000 copies of the 2024 Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook to GenCon this year in a special GenCon edition. The book will have a 50th anniversary gold foil logo on the cover, along with a commemorative bookplate for GenCon 2024. The price for this edition will be $49.99. This is more than a month ahead of the official release of the book on September 17th. To avoid buyers having to wait in very long lines, WotC is allowing a reservation of the books via the Gen Con event ticketing system. Each individual can claim 1 digital ticket each day of the con, beginning at 7 a.m. You'll still have to queue up to turn in your ticket and buy your copy of the book, but hopefully the ticketing system will spread out the purchases over the days of the con, making the line shorter than if everybody tried to buy one on day one. The book will be sold during limited sales hours, which are from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on August 1st, and 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. the rest of the con. And that's the TTRPG news for this week. I'm Dave, and thanks for watching.